Where am I? Parapara Umu, New Zealand. Welcome. I hope you all had a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Porch Light Letters podcast number 2304, Packing People and Possibilities. Yes, there is gaps and commas between those. I have to remember that. So today has been a very busy day as far as the street goes. It has been a very busy day. When I was on the chat this morning, this afternoon's been a little quieter, but there's still a lot of productivity and everything else going on. So this morning I was up just after 4 o'clock because I had to be online by 4:45 to be online at 4:45 to do the 5 p.m. training, 5 a.m. training, which was 9 a.m. training back in Mountain Time. So I had to be online for that, and that was, it wasn't a problem. I just got up, got my protein bar, and sat here and munched on that until it was time to start the training. Had a busy training, had 3 people on, so lots of questions. Then somebody made the mistake of asking, how is the best way to use this system for marketing? Well, remember, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, actually, it was about 5:30 at this point. It was 5:30 in the morning. I'd been up for an hour and a bit. Sorry, somebody's doing a U-turn in our driveway. I've been up for an hour and a bit. The brain was still kind of waking up a little bit, and they got kind of a half of a fire hose instead of a full fire hose. But everybody absolutely loved all the ideas. We ended up going through all the gifts in the gift store and suggesting ideas for those, and just giving ideas of what they can do within their own area and how they can use the cards and postcards and things like that, as well as all the gifts. So it was pretty cool. Then after that, I had went straight from that call to another Zoom where my friend Teza has an open office for AI where you can go and ask questions about AI. And it is fabulous. She does a lot of research and is always trying new things with AI. And she reports back to us what she's done. And now she's issuing us challenges to go and try different AI programs for ourselves and to see how we best used it and what we came up with and that sort of stuff. Totally forgot to do my homework from last week. Because when she mentioned, I was sort of like, yeah, I totally forgot about that. But it was really interesting. And then she makes me her co-host so that I can, because she has a waiting room set up, thankfully, has a waiting room set up. So we can admit people. So I do that for her and make sure everybody stays muted so we get the, unless they're talking, so we can get the cleanest recording that we can. And we had this person turn up who said she was from Korea and it was her first time being on the thing. And we said, oh, welcome. Then this other person shows up later on. And then the first person comments about the first person has stolen her identity and is using her image online for pornography and all this other bad stuff. And we were just sort of like, what the heck is, and Tessa and I kind of looked at Teresa to see what her reaction was. She was looking at me to see what my reaction was. And so we ended up actually booting them out of the Zoom. And then we had somebody else come in later on and they put themselves on thing. And there was 2 Asian girls and guys. I have no idea what nationality they actually were, but all I can tell you is they were Asian. And then they would put their microphones on and just start jibber-jabbing in English, just all this stuff. And so I would mute them and I just went in straight away and kicked them out. I wasn't even giving them a chance to come back and do that again. So, yeah. And then somebody mentioned that they were actually Zoom bombing. They were Zoom bombers. And I was like, what the heck is a Zoom bomber? And basically their goal is to, for whatever reason they get their jollies from, they go into Zoom calls and they disrupt whatever the Zoom is. And so these people kept trying to come back in and I was just like, remove every time. And but basically, and they tried several times to come back in. And I'm just sitting there. Thankfully, we have weight rooms, so you can sit there and just go remove, and that sort of thing to keep them out. And then they finally stopped pestering us. But yeah, my first experience with Zoom bombers. So like, really? You get your jollies doing that? Whatever. Each to their own. But, despite our Zoom bombers, we had a really great session on AI today, and I got lots of notes. So I've got my homework to do for this week. But yeah, it was just really strange with these bomber things. So after that, had breakfast, then got ready and started my day. Got on the chat. I was told it was very quiet today, and I said, "Well, it's Friday." Then I realized it's the last Friday before Thanksgiving, so a lot of people are going to be traveling this weekend, or maybe even leaving today or later this evening to travel this weekend, and they're taking the week off for Thanksgiving and traveling to wherever they're going to go for Thanksgiving. So I said, it could be slow for that. Let me tell you this. That was not the case on the chat today. So we started off slow. Kathy left at her normal time, and then it was just me. And it just started getting busy, and it just snowballing. It was just going crazy. And like I didn't have several people chatting in at once. I had a couple at one time, but I had people coming back with questions. Like I would give them the instructions on what they needed to do, or question them further to find out exactly what it was they wanted, because they were very vague. And once I found out the specifics of what they were after, I was able to give them instructions. But then they were coming back with other questions, and then so I'd solve those questions, and then they come back with more questions. And I don't mind answering questions as long as I can help people use the system. I'm happy, as long as they can learn how to use the system, and they come and they question things before they go and do something to make sure it's correct. I'm totally down with that. If they come in and say, "Hey, can you check it? Can you check my project for me? Do I have the QR code thing right? Can you check my automation to make sure it's correct?" And we're happy to do that. Happy to do that. So there was a lot of like little question things on little things, which kept me really busy. And I didn't take my break until I was like 15, 20 minutes late taking my break. And then I came back from that. And then and that was the first 2 hours. Well, that was the hour after Kathy left. Then I came back from that break, and then it started up again, and basically stopped probably about 30 minutes before the end of my shift. So it made the shift go really fast, and really, really testing my knowledge on the system, since I've been off for the last 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Was this my first? I think was this my first day back? I'm trying to think. Oh no, I was back last week as well. This is my second. This is only my second week back, so still getting back into the rhythm of things. And so it was very interesting just how busy it was for a Friday, and especially for the Friday before Thanksgiving. We haven't usually had it that busy. So it was kind of cool. And then after that, we've got a house I'm going to go see on Tuesday because that's their first viewing day, and we've got the first viewing appointment. I'm going to go and look at this house on Tuesday to see if it will work for me for 12 months to rent. Not looking at buying it. One of the reasons I won't buy it is it's down a long driveway. So I kind of want to be a little closer to the main action on the road. I mean, after today, watching the people across the road with the cars and the trucks, the rental truck that turned up, the pickup that turned up with stuff all in it, all the cars that turned up to help. It was just incredible watching them. And I'm sort of like, yeah, I want to be where I can see the action. If I can sit in my living room and just look out, sit there and look out over the street and we'll see what's happening, that's fine. But this one's down a long driveway. It's the only place down the driveway too. So I was thankful for that, for not having to have a pipe stem or anything like that. But and so one of the things we need to check when we go over there is how wide is that driveway? Will we get the truck down there when it arrives with my stuff? Now, my stuff is currently in a container, on a container ship, on its way from the US to New Zealand. It's going to come in the Port of Wellington. How long it sits on the port before it gets delivered, I don't know, but they'll let me know when it gets here and whatever. I've already got an email with all the paperwork stuff I need to fill out. Because they sent it to me in PDF, I've got the the paid PDF thing where you can go in and edit documents and stuff like that. So I'm going to turn it into a form and fill it out online and send it all back to them. There is a couple of pieces I do have to scan, and so we'll do that for them. I just don't want to have to print a whole bunch of paper and handwrite it out and scan it all and send it all back. So I'm going to see what I can do in the PDF document and see if they will accept that. And the only thing I know I'm going to have to scan will be my passport. So actually, I think I already have a photograph of my passport. So I may not have to. Oh, I do have a photograph of my passport because I had to do it for the movers when I was submitting all the paperwork. for them to come pick up my stuff and pack it. So I do have that done. So I don't even need to scan that. Yay! But what it got me, so what this thing got me thinking about was what I did is I brought up the information on the house to see what it already had and that sort of stuff. And then I've gone through and I've been making lists. Like I've got what do I absolutely need to get in the house that I can live there and cover the basics, like, preparing food. I've already got a refrigerator. It's sitting in my mum and dad's dining room. Long story about that, but basically a friend donated it to me a year ago. So it's been sitting in my parents' place in the dining room for over a year. It's a fridge on top, freezer on the bottom. I am absolutely grateful for that. And this table that I'm sitting at right now is used to be my brother's, and the place they went to had a dining table and chairs, and so they no longer needed this. So they offered it to me. I said, yep, sure. It sat behind my couch. Yes, I have a couch here as well. So behind in the living room is a couch that my parents purchased on my behalf. They took the money out of my account to pay these people for the couch. It's a pretty comfortable couch, that couch. That's basically where I sit every day in the evenings. I have my dinner there on a tray because my parents like to have their dinner in the evenings at 6 o'clock, so they can sit down and watch the 6 o'clock news eat their dinner at the same time. So that's where I sit and eat my dinner. And I also will sit there and just relax throughout the day, relax with them in the evenings. I do puzzles or read, or they do puzzles or read. So once they've finished with the news, if there's anything not worth watching, we turn the TV off. It's as simple as that. Um, so I've got my couch there. We set up the table in here so I can use it as a desk. The chairs are sitting out in the garage. And so, dining table / desk covered, chairs covered, couch covered, refrigerator covered. So it's sort of like, what else do I need for the absolute minimum, knowing what I have coming over from the States? So Mum and I were talking about today, and there's some stuff that I'm going to borrow from them until my stuff arrives. So they've got some plates that we used to use in the caravan when us kids were growing up. And then they have some plates that were left, and there's only 4 big plates and 4 smaller plates. And then there's some plates that they used to use in their camper van when they had one. And they've got 2 big plates, 2 little plates, 2 bowls, a serving bowl. And so that will do me until my stuff arrives. I'm going to need to get new cutlery anyway, so that's okay. That's on the list to purchase. So I've been going down, working out things. And of course, one of the things I want is an air fryer. We don't have Pampered Chef here in New Zealand, which is a problem because I really loved my air fryer. It was awesome. So I found one that was kind of similar because it had the oven door on the front of it. And this is an air fryer that has an oven door on it, not the drawers. And so I had found one previously that had the rotisserie everything, and it did everything that I wanted it to do. But when I went to click on the link, it couldn't be found. It said out of stock, not available. I was like, darn it. So I was looking for another one, and I actually found one. It's a Sunbeam, and it has 2 doors on it, not drawers, doors. So 2 oven doors, and you can either have a 5.5 liter air fryer areas with the oven doors, or you can remove the center wall and you get a 11.4 liter oven. And I was like, this is so cool. And had a look, it does everything on it except it doesn't rotisserie, which I'm sort of like, I'm really not worried about that one. Because the only time I used a rotisserie was the basket to cook the fries. And then the other thing it doesn't have on it is the dehydrator, because I really like to be able to dehydrate fruits and vegetables so I can just use them as snack things and that sort of stuff. So, but Mum says, you can always buy a dehydrator. And I says, yeah, I can. I'm still thinking, some of the times I'm still thinking small, like in the RV, how much space do I have? So I need one tool that's going to do multiple things. So I don't have to have multiple tools that take up a lot of space that I didn't have. So I've got to get out of that mindset. But I was thinking, air fryer, and they've got it on sale. It's 50% off right now until I think it's like January 3rd. And so we're gonna leave that until we get back from our trip next week, and then we'll go pick it up. And I guess we're gonna start a little pile for Helen's house, whatever, I don't know. I just thought of something else I need to put on my list. Where is my list? I've got the move-in list. Okay, got that sorted out. And my brother has access to a big corner desk. And so when we go to look at this place on Tuesday, I'm going to be taking a tape measure. We need to look at the width of the driveway first to make sure the truck can get down there, because it's a long driveway and they're going to charge me a lot extra if they have to carry the stuff from the street down to the house. So fingers crossed we can get the truck down the driveway, so that they've just got easy access. It's single story, so they don't have to worry about stairs or anything like that. And then, looking at things like I need an electric kettle. Can't have my tea without my electric kettle. And I'm looking for one with a temperature control on it, because different types of tea require different temperatures of water in order to get the best out of the tea. And yes, it is true. It is a true fact. And so I found one that's I think it's on a clearance sale. So I've got to see how long that one's going to be on sale, but I think it's on clearance. But it's got the buttons across the bottom, and it actually says like green tea, oolong tea, white tea, dark, black tea, that sort of stuff across the bottom. So that will work. So I got that down. But looking at things like, I've got these plates coming, so I'm borrowing the plates from Mum. I need to get a cutlery set anyway, so I'm looking to see what is out there that's on sale right now. Why pay full price when you can get stuff on sale? So I've been making those lists and looking to see what's available online at the different places and things. And I know one of the first purchases I'm going to get when I get in there will be a bed, because I need something to sleep on until my bed arrives. But what I'm doing is I'm going to set up the guest room. So that bed will go, I'm going to go buy a new bed that's going to go into the guest room. And I will sleep on that until my bed arrives. And then that will go straight into the master bedroom. And because a New Zealand king is smaller than a US king, and I'm sleeping on a king right now, but it is definitely small, way smaller than mine. It's bigger than a queen, but smaller than mine. So US king standard king is actually bigger than the New Zealand king size and super king size. So just keep that in mind. But I do know that the bed I'm sleeping on, to me, it feels like a queen, because I sleep on a US king. But I figured if the room can take it, I will get a New Zealand king bed and put it in there. I've got to get new linens anyway, so that will help with that. Actually, if I get a queen, but then I'm thinking of people who will come and visit, they'll be more comfortable as the couples will be more comfortable on the king than they will be on the queen. So thinking of that as well. But just looking at what do I need to get now so I can live in a house until my stuff arrives. So, I'm only going to have a few weeks to wait. So it's not like I want to go out and buy a whole bunch of stuff, but I also want, because I know what's coming, so I need to keep that in mind as well. So it's been that kind of a day. It's been busy out on the street with people moving in. It's been busy on the work side, and it's been busy on the research side, looking what am I going to need before my stuff, what do I need to purchase before my stuff arrives, or what do I need to borrow until my stuff arrives. So things like kitchen utensils, cutlery, those I know I need. I don't need knives. I have 2 knife blocks coming full of knives, and they're the good kind too. Well, I really like them. I like using them. But it's just looking at other things that I've got my recliner coming. I'm going to have a couch to sit on. I'll have somewhere to sit and eat, because I'll use one end for the office, one end for my for dining until if we can get the desk into the room I want it to go into. Then because my brother's got a corner desk, I think it's at his church that they're getting rid of, and so they're holding it. And to see if it will fit in that space, then they'll bring it in and assemble. And my brother will bring it in and help assemble it and all that sort of stuff. So I have to tell you, it's so much fun being back among family. I love it. I am really enjoying my time. And I get to go visit my brother and sister-in-law tomorrow afternoon, and get to see their place. And we get to talk about all sorts of good fun things and everything else. So I do have reflection questions for you, because it wouldn't be a podcast without reflection questions. So number 1, What recent moment reminded you how quickly things can shift from calm to chaos or vice versa? See, one of the things as I've been thinking through things, all of a sudden something will pop into my head that I will see it pictured in its place in the house and surprise and go, did the movers pack that or did I have to get rid of it afterwards? So there's been those sorts of doubts going through my mind on the stuff. Number 2, what old habits or thoughts are surfacing now that you're in a season of transition? Number 3, what are you learning about letting go and trusting the process, especially when you can't see the full path yet? I keep getting drilled into, I'll tell about that in a second. And number 4, how does your environment reflect what you're preparing for emotionally or practically? So one of the things that had been drilled into me over the years is divorce the results and marry the process. Yes, you will get to the results eventually, but you've got to marry the process that's going to help you get there. So divorce the results and marry the process. And with that, I am out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Actually, we're going to be late tomorrow because we're going to be at my brother's place at 2:30, which is half an hour before my live. So we'll either be on super early tomorrow or be on late tomorrow. I haven't decided yet.